Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the team here at the BC Centre for Employment Excellence, I'd like to welcome you to our webinar today. We are very pleased that so many of you are willing to take the time out of your busy schedules to join us during your lunch hour on this beautiful day across the province. Today we're going to be taking a break from our usual series of research webinars to introduce you to a new tool that we launched on our website this week. I'm going to give you a bit of background on why we developed the tool, followed by a tutorial on how to use it. Afterwards, we'll take a few questions from you, and before turning it over to my colleagues Greg Lockwood and Susanna Gurr, who will announce some of the Centre's upcoming activities this fall. Before we begin, though, I'd like to cover a few housekeeping items. As per our normal procedures, we will be recording the webinar, and we will be posting it on the video recording on our website. Due to the large number of participants, we'll be muting the audience throughout the presentation to ensure audio quality. But we do encourage you to use the questions feature on your dashboards to submit any comments and questions, and afterwards my colleague Greg will be compiling those questions so we can address them. We're also going to be trying out GoToWebinar's hand-raising feature today. I don't know if this is a great idea, but we'll see how it works. To use it, you can click on the raise hand button during the question period, and Greg will then unmute each of you in turn so you can ask your question. And we'll see how it goes. If it doesn't, we'll just go back to the chat feature. And just remind you, if you do lose your internet connection, please reconnect using the link emailed to you. And I know that some of you had problems in the past with audio on your computers. So I recommend that if you are having issues, use your phone connection and just use that number that's on your dashboard to rejoin. So I'd like to turn it over to the Employment Program Hub. As you may recall, last May, the Centre published an environmental scan of employment programs in BC. This study came out of a request by the Centre stakeholders to get a better handle on the range of programs and services that exist for job seekers in each community across the province. Obviously, the sector has gone through a major transformation over the past couple of years, and we wanted to know what the service environment looks like, particularly for job seekers with specific barriers to employment. We asked John Cower to compile a database of all publicly funded employment programs that currently exist in the province, regardless of their funding source. If you go to our website and look at that report, you'll see that John and his team did a bang-up job of creating a very detailed list of each program, including information on who delivers it, where it's located, its eligibility requirements, and the services it provides to clients. As you can well imagine, the employment program database that the team put together is quite large, and it's constantly changing. So we contracted with a web development team at Massive Media to develop a solution for us where we could put this information online and build in tools to make it easy for us and for our stakeholders to keep it up to date. One of the things that we've been reminded of through this development process is that the array of programs, services, eligibility requirements is very complex, and as they can differ from funder to funder and program to program. We were definitely challenged to come up with a tool that was quick and easy to use, but sophisticated enough to account for all the variations in the way that employment programs are structured across the province. We are very grateful for the small group of service providers in the Lower Mainland who are willing and eager to join a focus group to flesh out the design of the hub and act as guinea pigs when it was launched as an early beta. As we expand our user base, we greatly appreciate all the feedback we are getting from users, and we encourage you to drop us a line as you play with the tool and can tell us what is and what isn't working for you. Our web development team is still working behind the scenes to improve the look and functionality of the tool, so any further information we can give them is much appreciated. We built this tool with the practitioner in mind. It is designed for you to input some key information about a client, to produce a list of programs that may be suitable for him or her. We've included enough information to determine whether the program may be a good candidate for them, while listing the location and website address of the program should you or the client wish to inquire further. We're well aware that programs and services are constantly in flux, so we asked the development team to build in features that enable the users of this hub to help us keep it up to date. As a small team, it's impossible for us at the Centre to keep on top of every change. So the hub now includes a tool that lets our users flag information that's incorrect or out of date, as well as a form to add programs that are new or missing from the database. We know that the usefulness of the tool is only as good as the quality of the information it provides. So we are counting on you, the user, to help keep it up to date and as accurate as possible. So to find the Employment Program Hub, I'm going to turn to our website. And you'll see that it's a tab on the top right of our main web page. Once you're there, I recommend that you bookmark it in your browser to find it again quickly in the future. That way you don't have to hunt for it if you're in a rush. So you'll note on this front page that we have included a description of what the Hub is all about. It's a tool that is designed primarily to help practitioners find publicly funded employment programs for their clients. As of April 2012, EPBC is the primary employment program for job seekers in British Columbia, and we have included a link to the page on WorkBC where you or your clients can find your nearest WorkBC center. The Hub will help you find non-EPBC programs that your client may be able to access, whether they are funded by another ministry or department of the federal government. I should note that at this time we do not intend to include private and or fee-for-service programs in the database. So to find a list of programs for your client, enter any of the relevant details in the search fields below. And I'll scroll down a little bit so you can see that. I'd like to encourage you to not try to get too restrictive right away, but instead select a few key variables such as their location and whether they're a member of a specialized population to get you as broad a list as possible that you can then narrow down further. So here I'm going to select my location, which is Vancouver. And then I'm going to hit search. So I just want to point out that leaving any of the fields blank is perfectly fine, and it will get the system to ignore that criteria when doing the search. Oh wait, before I jumped ahead a little bit here, I just want to point out that the values of each of these fields were created based on the range of criteria across programs. So for instance, when you look at EI status, you'll see that you can specify whether the client is not eligible for EI, eligible but not receiving EI, or yes, they are in fact receiving benefits. So, and then under education, you'll see that we've included some of the key criteria of various programs, so it allows you to specify the client's level of education and or whether they are enrolled in post-secondary studies. When we look at employment status, it lets you specify whether the client is interested in self-employment or whether they're unemployed or underemployed. So one of the challenges we have had is defining the service delivery area of each program. The system asks you to put in the specific town where your client is located, and that's right here as I did before, and then identifies programs that are available in that location. What this means is that you could be getting programs that are available to clients in your town, but where the program office is located elsewhere. So for instance, as a Vancouver resident, I may be eligible for programs that are provided to lower mainland residents, but the program office is located in Surrey. Or we have included federal programs that are available to BC job seekers, but the contact information is actually in Ontario. And if you do live in a smaller town, I suggest that you check your neighboring towns to see if there are any programs that your clients might also be able to access. So for instance, Kitimat residents may want to check for terrace programs, etc. We hope to have captured all of these geographic relationships, but we would appreciate if you point out where we have got it wrong. So back to my example here, I was going to enter in Vancouver, my location, and then I'm going to hit search. Okay, and here we get the search results page. On the top, you'll see a summary of the criteria you've entered, and here I've only entered Vancouver. And then below is a list of all the search results for that criteria. So all the programs are available in Vancouver. And you'll see this is quite a lengthy list. In fact, there's well over 9 pages of results. If you want to expand the list on that front page, you can show more than 10 programs. You can show up to 100, and I can select that here. And that will just expand that list for you. So you get a very long page. I won't scroll through it all. And then if you want to, once you've got that initial list, if you want to refine your search criteria, you just click Change Criteria, and then you get your original list of fields. And for instance, I'll select here immigrant, and hit Search again, and now I'm getting programs for immigrants that are available to Vancouver residents. So in that main search page, you'll see a brief summary of each of the programs, including the first part of its description, program description, its contact information on the right-hand side here, and its web page. We've included this here so that you can distinguish the various locations of programs that may be available to clients to figure out one that's the closest, for instance. And if I look at our program here, so we'll look at the Maples program run by ISS, and I click on More Information. I now get a full description of the program, the services it offers. So here's the services. Its contract start and end dates, and here we're hoping that you're going to help us include this information. Its eligibility requirements as well, and its funder. If any of this information is wrong, we invite you to click the flag field here, and you'll see a little pop-up where we ask you for your name and email and any information about the program that you think is incorrect or needs to be modified. We're asking for your name and contact information so we can follow up with you if we do need further information. And then once you submit this, our team will review the information right away and update the program in our database. I'm just going to go back to, and I want to point out here on the right-hand side, you'll also see as part of the contact information we have a map of that location. Okay, I'm just going to go back to the main page, and you'll see that on every page of the hub, we've included a tool for you to add a program to the database. So if you know of a new program or are unable to find one in the database, you can use this form to provide us with any information you have about the program. Simply click on Add a Program, and then here you're going to get a pretty lengthy form. Once again, we're going to ask you for your name and contact information so that we can contact you if we need more, if we're not able to find that detailed information ourselves. And then you're going to get this pretty lengthy form. I don't want you to be intimidated by that. Just understand that we're looking for as much information as you have about the program. What we'd really like to know is the website or contact information so that we can do the necessary follow-up to ensure that everything is accurate as possible. Okay, so that's about it for my intro to the hub. We'll turn it over to I'll turn it over to Greg now, who can address any questions that you have. And as I mentioned, you can try using that raise hand feature if you want to use your computer's microphone to ask us a question. So just simply hit that raise hand feature, and we'll unmute you in turn.
Okay, thanks, Sean. At this point, we've got a question from Rob, who's asking a technical question about just getting a JavaScript return when you're doing a search. I don't know, Sean, if you're able to speak to the browser capabilities and Rob's question specifically.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure exactly what's going on, Rob, so maybe we can chat further. We've been testing this on multiple platforms. It is currently active, and it's publicly available. There's no restrictive logins or anything like that. So if you're not able to get it, I suggest you either refresh, or maybe we can chat afterwards to see if there's something specific that you're encountering that we need to be aware of. But so far with our beta testers, we didn't have any issues with the hub.
Okay, so if there are any other questions out there, feel free to, as Sean said, type them into the question box. We're looking to see if there's any hands that have been raised. None so far. Okay, and then if you think of any questions in the meantime, we've got another question here from Barb. Question is, are there plans to have this available for employers who would be looking for programs to support their business? And Sean, maybe I'll ask you to take that one as well.
Well, we're going to take small steps right now. So this is really a trial for us. This is something that we heard from our stakeholders, something that was needed, some sort of centralized list of all the various publicly funded programs. So we built this really with a practitioner in mind. I should say that we've actually been talking to the WorkBC folks about how this might integrate with the information that's going to be posted on their revamped website in the future. But at this point, it's really kind of a test for us to see how this works. We know this is something that's really needed right now with practitioners, so that's where we focused. But if you feel that this is something that could be expanded to employers, it would require some changes to the database, maybe a different interface specifically for employers. We'd certainly be willing to explore that, but I should say that there's no plans right now to do that.
Okay, so thanks to Rob and Barb for your questions. And I was just about to say, if there are any questions that come to you in the next few minutes, please don't hesitate to, again, enter them in the question box or raise your hand. So maybe we'll take this time to talk about a couple of announcements that the center has for the upcoming couple of months. We're really pleased to be able to say that sort of in a follow-up to the consultations that many of you were able to attend and will remember from last year, that the center took on over a number of regions across BC. We realized in that process that as much as we were happy to be able to travel to different communities and meet with multiple practitioners that were able to meet us in a central spot within their region, it was certainly challenging for some in terms of traveling and making the drive to get to the consultation. So we're taking a bit of a different approach this year, and we're very excited to announce that we're planning to connect with service providers and practitioners in person in more of an outreach format, where we're going to be traveling to communities, especially the ones that we may not have been able to hit in that initial consultation process last year. And we're still in the planning stage, so we would very much encourage you, if you feel like maybe your community was missed last year, perhaps also if there are some events that could be tied into a consultation over the fall that you'd like us to participate in, we'd really love to hear from you and see if we're able to potentially travel to your community. So we will be doing some outreach around the center's resources, activities, and research, as well as some further promotion of the Employment Hub and a chance to get more feedback about how that's working for you. As Sean said, we're continuing to do behind-the-scenes development of the Hub, so we certainly expect further improvements over the next number of weeks that hopefully will make the Hub even better for you when we're able to meet with some of you over the fall. And another announcement that we're very happy to make today is that we have secured our next presenter and topic for our next webinar on October 22nd. Again, it'll be at 12 p.m. And the specific topic isn't quite confirmed, but it will be in the area of online career counseling. And our feature presenter is going to be Tanis Goddard from Training Innovations. So with that, I just want to, and before I pass it over to Susanna, we've got another question here that we want to make sure that we can address. So there's a question from Anita that is, when entering the criteria, will the WorkBC sites for the particular area be listed? I asked this because in some areas in Vancouver or Surrey, there are a number of WorkBC sites, and the WorkBC site is where they would go based on the postal code. So I think Sean mentioned earlier in the presentation that we definitely acknowledge that WorkBC is the one-stop initial contact for job seekers, and in that paragraph on the front page of the Program Hub, there's a link to the list of all of the WorkBC sites across the province. So Sean's just navigating to it right now. The WorkBC URL is right there in that first paragraph on the Program Hub homepage. So if you click on that, then that will take you to the WorkBC page where you can either use the map to locate the center for the appropriate center for the job seeker, and then there's also, I think, just below the map, there's a directory, sort of an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah, right here.
Right there, where you can also click and just see a listing of all of the different WorkBC sites.
Yeah, I should just note that we found it a bit of a technical issue to have WorkBC within there because we wanted to make sure that it was reinforced as the primary employment program for job seekers. At the same time, it's one that's available to a lot of different populations. So at this time, what we're doing is we're saying that we're aiming the hub at non-EPBC programs and using the WorkBC website itself to direct practitioners and clients to their local center.
Okay, thanks Anita for your question.
I should note, if you have any other questions, you can certainly email us after the webinar or even give us a call and we can chat further. We love getting your feedback. I've already, when we launched it, I think yesterday, we did a soft launch on the site. I was already getting emails, so that's terrific for us to get that kind of feedback. This is certainly a work in progress. We want to stress that. If you're finding some issues with it, point them out to us. We may have seen them already, but maybe not. And it also helps us understand how you're using the tool in your everyday practice. The team is working behind the scenes to get the algorithms right so that the search criteria are showing up with the right results. As I said, maybe one idea right now is to use fairly broad criteria and then start narrowing your search as you start wanting to filter that down to more specific issues.
Okay, and on that note about receiving your feedback, we have recorded today's event and we'll post the video of the presentation on our website to continue the conversation there. So you can go to the Join the Conversation link and find a recording of this webinar, hopefully by the end of today or tomorrow. You will receive an email shortly with a link to the presentation video. Unfortunately, we found that the system doesn't record those of you connecting only by phone as having attended. So you may receive an email saying that we're sorry you were unable to attend. If you'd like a confirmation of your attendance, please contact us at the link in the email. And before we wrap up, I'm just going to pass the mic over to our Managing Director, Susanna Gurr, for some final words.
Thank you. I want to end this session by thanking everyone for sharing your lunchtime with us and helping us launch the Employment Program Hub. As Sean and Greg both said, we very much look forward to getting your input about the Hub. If you are using the Hub, tell us how and if it is supporting your work. We also invite you to partner with us to update the program information, and please share this resource with other practitioners that you think may find it useful. This is the type of feedback we need to ensure that the Hub is useful and relevant. On another note, if you are interested, we have recently posted our annual report on the website. We look very much forward to having you at our next webinar, and thanks again for attending and have a great afternoon.